Panda Express is the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
and,
definitely the official restaurant of
You
Satyr.
should all find a Panda Express that is 40 minutes away from you and make the drive, listen to Locus all the way there, eat some Panda Express, and then listen to Locus all the way back home.
It's going in the highlight reel.
And so, like, I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants. Like, I knew, like, what I should be doing. Like, Neutrino was actually my very first paid recording project ever. I remember Neutrino, we, like, set up, like, Soup's, like, Fender combo amp and, like, mic'd that up because I was just like, oh, I have to mic up a guitar amp or they're not gonna think I'm, like, legit. But, this time around, it's all Kemper. Shout out to the haters, because Kemper rules. I don't care what you guys say, it sounds sick. But I think this time around we were just all, in general, a lot more prepared. I think like our relationship had grown over the past 2 years, and then just like kind of like reconvening to do this like next project was just a really exciting time. Drums. Honestly, I feel like it's really, really hard to make Brody sound bad. Brody is just a phenomenal player. Probably the best drummer that I've had the pleasure of recording. He's just, every snare hit is consistent, every kick hit sounds like a freaking sample. Like, it's crazy. So, I mean, I just kind of did my thing with drums. Like, some people know me as like being pretty good at dialing in drum sounds. So, obviously, if you add that equation together, like you're gonna get a good drum sound, a good engineer who knows what he's doing, and a phenomenal drummer who hits really consistently. So the drums sound awesome. As far as bass goes, bass was kind of the most sporadic thing. Like we did guitar first, and then bass was like, oh, well, let's do 2 songs this day, and then like 3 weeks later, it was like, let's do another song. I know Brody had a lot to say when we were tracking bass, just to like kind of match the bass parts with like his kick patterns and stuff. And like Brody and I would go back and forth on a couple parts where I'm just like, I don't know if it needs to match like entirely, like kind of like let Calvin do his thing, but I feel like the compromises that we came to really lent itself to the parts. I feel like all of our relationships individually are really strong, and I feel like I don't have to hold back with what I'm saying. Everything that we're doing is for the record. I can be like, yo, that fucking sucked. Do it again. And JD is gonna be like, you right. Like, let me do it again. Guitar recording was the most extensive process. It took us weeks and weeks. Soup actually spent the night for 3 nights in a row here, and we just recorded for like 14 hours a day, and then we would sleep for like 5 hours, and then we would get up, eat breakfast, and then record for like 14 more hours. And it was like, we tracked until it was perfect. When you're dealing with like progressive music like this, like it needs to be tight. Some people will disagree with that, but I feel like this kind of music really needs to be, like everything needs to be exactly where it needs to be, or else it just doesn't convey the energy as well as it could. And so when we tracked this album, I kind of had that more in mind, and I think Soup and I worked really, really well that way. I think we were both, like I said, we were both on the same page. We both knew exactly what needed to be done to get a specific part. And while it took weeks and weeks and weeks, I think that's just because the source material required that amount of time to get perfect. As far as like the flow and process, I feel like we had really, really good synergy on this album. We got to mess around with so many pedals. It was ridiculous. It was a lot of fun. I don't really have a lot of experience with pedals, so this is kind of my first time like getting to like have like 70, literally 70 pedals at my disposal. And it's funny because like we would plug in one pedal and then we would play for like 2 minutes and it would be like, nah. And we would toss it to the side, and we had like the discard pile, and then we had like the winners pile, and the discard pile was like 50 pedals. And so we ended up really only using like 5 pedals, I think. We had an OCD, we had an MXR Dynacomp, which we loved so much that I ended up buying one because the guy that we borrowed it from needed it back, and Amazon lost the pedal and in transit, and then they ended up sending another one, and then the one that got lost in transit got to me too, so I had 2 pedals. And so Soup paid me like $40 for the $80 pedal, and so we both got an MXR Dynacomp for half off. It was pretty sweet. Yeah, guitar was a lot of fun. I think these are some of my favorite guitar tones that I've ever personally dialed in.